welcome to Heavenly Harvest Homestead. My name's Ken.
My name is Bev.
And today we're going to be doing a garden walk. So let's roll. Alright, I'm going to start over here. Let's start over here with this tomato bed. Alright, so I remember last week I showed that one was broken. I put it back in the ground. I'm not sure how it's doing, but we're just going to leave it there. But I planted another tomato right beside it, so just in case that one dies. But these things are doing great right now. And I'm looking at these. Look how big those vines are. I mean, they're awesome. I tied this one up because we had another little wind thing come through and it was laying down. So now it's tied up over there. So this one's the only one that's standing strong by himself. We got this other one in the front here. It's growing well. And if you notice, I haven't done any underground pulling out yet, pruning yet. Something I got to get done before probably do it tomorrow after church. All right, let's move to the next spot. All right, if you look over here, 90 degrees. So, and then Thursday it was in the about 85. So, gee whiz. I mean, North Carolina is one of those states where if you don't like the weather, just wait around a little bit, it'll change. All right, so we thinned out the tomatoes here too, so we pull those all out, and now I've got these three here. Likely that one by the road is going to get go as well, because I don't think it's going to do very well with that rose. Our blackberries are doing well. Look how much this guy has grown just in a week. I mean, this thing was like right here when I shot that video last week, and now it's back almost to the rocks. I got a lot of blooms out here. It's looking nice. The strawberries are looking real good too. You know, I've actually harvested a few of them. We're still trying to race the slugs to them, but you know, I did actually manage to scash out 6 this morning. So you know, it's really looking really good. And I'm looking forward to getting some blackberries out of here too. All right, let me move over here to the buckwheat bed. All right, so that's the only thing we got coming up right now is buckwheat in this bed, but it's looking really good. It's starting to get some nice color on it, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the red in here. It's the first time we've ever grown buckwheat, but my bees love it. And it's one of the best foraging, pollinating things that the bees can get at this time of the year. Because we're going to get into a time where between all the trees blooming and stuff. And then these are those white flowers I was telling you about. They're just now starting to come up. So it's going to be a kind of patchwork bed. We, like I said, we didn't really plan this out. It was just kind of an afterthought thing. So that's why it doesn't look too organized. All right, but over here, I can shoot you down my corn here. So my corn's looking good. I got a couple of spots where it didn't come up right here and in this little gap right here. But for the most part, it's all coming up. And I'm not really concerned about it because we didn't plan on planting corn. This was kind of an afterthought as well, because that's where my internet line runs. So I just built a big hill over it and figured, well, what the hey, we'll throw some corn down. And it's looking kind of, you know, got, as Jason at Cog Hill says, it's a Budweiser row, kind of going crooked there. But in these rows here, you can see where the ground's wet. I got 3 rows of okra. And then down on the back side of this bed, I've got 3 plants of Cherokee 10 pumpkins, and then 3 seeds of pie pumpkins planted. So hopefully those will come up so we can get us some pie pumpkins. There's my zucchini on this end. They're starting to flower out. Haven't seen any fruit on them yet, but could be any day now. You know, they got a lot of flowers on them. Look at this one, see if, nope. Oh, yep, there's one right there. If you can see right down here, that little zucchini on that guy. So those should be coming out pretty soon. We've always had good success with zucchini in this particular ground garden, and squash for that matter. In fact, let's move over here. Look, here's a little squash in that one. Let's see. That one's got a zucchini on it, but over here, look, I got 2 little squash there. Got a little squash right there. And these guys, I don't know what's going on with them. You know, they're the only 2 that just really didn't take up. Everybody else is doing well. This is my butternut squash back here in the backside. And I put this little fence line up here. Put this up so I can trellis them up. Hoping, yeah, it'll hold up. I'm just going to start trellising these up and let them hang over. I'm going to try and do a lot of vertical gardening this year. All right, let's move this way. Here's my beans, my Blue Lakes. And this row right here, all right, so I'm going to show you this. So all my beans came up on that end. This row looks like it's been attacked. You got some beans down here, they got some leaves eaten, the tops are gone off of those. It looks like something decided to attack this row. Don't know what is up with that. The next row looks pretty decent, it's kind of patchwork, but, and then this one, still, same thing. It's got some beans coming up, but that one over there had the same amount of beans in it. I don't know what's going on. Now here's my peppers over here. My peppers are looking really good. They really enjoyed that warm weather earlier this week. And I've already got some peppers coming up on a few of these. So a few more weeks, I'll have some peppers to pick. And I'm hoping that these things are going to really take off here pretty soon once the weather gets squared away and starts staying warm. All right, so that's the ground garden. It's looking nice. Our basil's coming up too. Here's my hives. My bees are buzzing in and out. Got legs of pollen rolling in here. This is the main hive I've had, and these guys are doing really good. And this is the hive that I put the swarm in. They're doing well as well. They're just not quite as active, which I would expect because they don't have as many bees in there. But I'm going to keep on working with these guys. I'm going to do an inspection on Monday, and if the weather's good, I'll take the camera out and show you the inspection on this hive, and show you what all is going on inside. Over here, I've got some sunflowers growing in this corner. This row right here is a green table squash, and then this row right here is, well, that one down there is a table squash. These are sunflowers here. Then this whole row here is white scallop squash. So they're all coming up good. We only had one of the green table squash that actually came up. So I don't know what happened with those. You know, squash, like I said, squash usually grows pretty good here. So we'll keep on watching. Oh, there's another one back there. I see it came up right there. It's hiding behind that mint. All right, here's my potato bucket that I covered up last week. We pulled the tomatoes out of this potato bucket and transplanted them. So now we got tomatoes in their own buckets and potatoes in their own bucket.
The reason these squash haven't grown as fast as those squash is because those squash were planted a week and a half later than those squash.
Got it. And now I have had an update from the wife who planted the squash, so now I know what's going on too. All right, here's my potatoes. They're looking fabulous. Getting some good growth on them. I need to get in here and put some more dirt in here and get these finished out because they're starting to get pretty high, and I don't want the sun to get into those potatoes. So hopefully, well, not hopefully, I'm going to be getting into these tomorrow. This bucket here has been slow to the party, so tomorrow it'll get its first pile of dirt on top of it, and then this one I have a little bit higher. But these guys have already exceeded, you know, what my expectations. They already got way up high, so I'm going to be putting some more dirt in here, and I probably will be able to top them off with the hay afterwards. So I'm going to shoot that. That'll be part 3 of my 4-part potato video coming up. All right, here's my Blue Lake pole beans. They're doing really well, starting to get some height on them. I hadn't seen no tendrils coming out yet for it to start climbing, but any day now I expect the first one will start grasping on. That was that Paris lettuce, and we're just letting it go to seed. Going to get some seed from it, and once that's come to seed, we're just going to pull that out and get it out of the way so we can let the sun shine on through the beans here. All right, carrying over here to the boxes. We'll start right here in this box. All right, this is my purple hull peas, and if you look, I've got 4 tomatoes placed in these little pockets that I left open. These are Amish paste tomatoes. Got 4 of those. And then I've got my purple hull peas planted in the 4 corners. So that was kind of by design. I wanted to leave an extra space for tomatoes just in case, and I knew I needed these. I didn't have any of these planted yet, so I left a little space for them to get in here. My peppers are looking wonderful. Getting some height on them a little bit. Those anchos in the back there that I bought from Walmart, not doing too good. Now I did put that pepper in. I took it out of the volunteer box over there, right over there, and put it in here, just because I knew I was going to do it anyway. So I was doing some moving stuff around today and decided to go ahead and knock it out. But my jalapeno and not a pino. So this is a jalapeno here. That's one of those not a pinos, and those two are in a race to see who puts out the first pepper, because that one's got a little flower on it. This one's got a little flower on it. My peach habaneros are starting to get some size on them. And then these anchos, or these Tabasco peppers here in the front, are looking awesome as well. And then these 2 anchos are looking really good. So I'm looking forward to getting some hot peppers this year, because you know I like to make salsa, and last year I experimented with some sauces. I actually made my first sriracha the other day. So I'm looking forward to getting some more hot peppers this year so I can make some more sauces. Now here's my tomatoes. This is the ones we put the eggs underneath. And if you look right here close, you can see my carrots are starting to come up. I got carrots planted right in front of these guys, and these guys are getting some good height on them. They're looking real good. And that's the only one of the twins that I left. That one's got twins there. I'm probably going to end up pulling that out. I'm really looking and trying to figure out space-wise. There's another one on the other side. I don't know why. I guess I must have missed that one over there. But this one right here, I left it here and tied them both up, thinking that I might be able to fill in some space. But watching how these tomatoes grow on a video, I'm not sure if I want to leave them in here, because they're gonna overwhelm each other. Same thing in here. There's another one down here in the front. I think that one might be okay, but I'm not really sure yet. We're gonna some of these have just been got some blooms on it. I'm gonna go ahead and pick these off, because this guy ain't nowhere near to be ready to be putting out no tomatoes. And if you notice, there's not a whole lot of blooms on any of these either, because I've already plucked them off. But they're looking really good. I've tied this side up already. This side over here, I'm waiting for it to get a little more height on it. This one's getting pretty close, where I can get it over here to the trellis. But there's this big dent right here in my fence that this was a fence I took out of my goat pen. So it's a little bit far away for that tomato. So I may end up having to do some staking in here to get them high enough so I can get them to the fence. But they're looking awesome. I'm getting some good growth on them. I'm going to pluck those guys off there while I'm walking. Just seen them there. And they are looking absolutely awesome. We're going to get a lot of tomatoes this year. And I'm really looking forward to it, because I love tomatoes. And tomatoes are an integral part of making salsa. And my spaghetti sauce, by the way. So you'll see some videos on those later on this summer. All right, this is the other tomato bed. These are the my pink bumblebee bees. These are 2 cherry tomatoes, pink bumblebees, and I've never grown those before, so I'm looking forward to see how they look and how they taste. And then from here on down, these are the to this one. These 3 right here are my Romesco tomatoes. And then these two on the end over here, these are white tomatoes. And then look at this guy. I mean, it is busting out with tomatoes. Got a lot of good ones on there. So this is one of my paste tomatoes from last year that we planted some seed in the greenhouse, and this plant grew almost all winter, and then now we got some tomatoes actually coming out. So we're gonna have some early tomatoes. Over on this side, these are some more romescos on this side. All of these are those Plabetto, I think they're called Promesco Romexes. I think it's something like that. I'm about to go look at the actual name. It had 3 different things on the thing, and I'm trying to remember what they were called. Romesco is the one, I believe. It was Poblano Romesco, I think it was. So that's these on this side over here. All right, let's move this way. All right, so my San Marzanos are doing really well, and I put that guy in the middle there. It is we don't know, it's one that I pulled out of the volunteer box over there and put it in here. So it's probably a cherry tomato. My cantaloupe has just finally caught up over here, starting to actually run towards the trellis. And this peach is starting to get some height on it. You know, I need to give it a little more dirt because the seed pod's sticking out of the ground right here. But it's getting some good roots, and once I get about 18 inches, I'm gonna cut it, pull it out of here, and put it into its own pot so it can start growing on its own. The loofahs are looking fantastic. They're starting to grow up the trellis. I noticed I added this since last week. I added 2 pieces of fencing in here, trying to get these to grab a hold of. I noticed that these boards were a little bit too wide for the tendrils to wrap around, so I put these little posts in the middle, but I figured I'd give them something to grab a hold of, and I think it will wrap around these, as I was noticing some of them did actually wrap around the little posts. Here's my other cantaloupe. It's starting to work its way up. I'm tying it up as it goes, and my plan is to raise these vertically as well, to go all the way up and over on both sides. Now, I've already looked at this and thinking, okay, cantaloupes are pretty heavy, so I'm probably going to have to do some reinforcing on this to keep it from tipping over, because once I load this up with cantaloupes, I'm afraid it's going to get a little bit tippy because it is on a little bit of an angle. All right, over in this bed, got some sunflowers here. My celery's looking good. That tomato's looking okay. I put that in last week, so it's still limping along. That one I moved today. It came from the volunteer bed over there. I took it and pulled it out. That's why it's looking a little limpy. I just put it in a couple hours ago. But I did. It should be perked up, and probably by tomorrow it'll be back to its normal self. Here's my Chinese noodle beans in the front here, and on the other side. These guys are getting some good growth on them too. I'm looking forward to these. I saw these on a couple of the homesteads. I think Jess grew some last year, and I don't remember the other homestead I saw them at. Oh, the Stivers, that's what it was. The Stivers grew these too, and they come up and they hang down. They're about, hanging beans. They're long beans, and they're purple, and I'm looking forward to getting those here on the homestead as well. I heard they're really tasty, so we like beans, and those are going to be really good too. All right, over here, these are my black beans. I planted a lot of black beans. Beth wanted to put some black beans in here so she could do some canning. So that's what I did. We got our sunflowers coming up over on this side. I've got another tomato here, and then this is my watermelons on this end. So I've got 5 watermelon plants, which should be sufficient, for what I'm trying to do in here. I don't want to get a whole bunch of them and them running all over each other and as they spill out onto the cloth here. All right, let me take you over here to the volunteer and the cucumber box. Show you what's going on over here. All right, first off, let's stop right here at these beets. Show you the beets. They're getting some nice growth on them. And I might trim some of these tops off of here and put them in a salad here pretty soon, because I got that big salad lettuce right there on the corner. that I'm going to pluck out and add some of them beet tops to it too. It might be pretty good. Same thing with the spinach. Spinach is looking really good. It's probably about ready for its first harvest. And then that little lettuce back there in the corner, probably going to get harvested too. It's sitting in really bright sunshine, so it's probably not going to live very long in that particular position, so probably need to go ahead and get it out of there anyway. These cucumbers over here are looking nice. I took some time today to start trying to point them in the right direction, get them pointed towards the trellis, and get them going up. Over here, the same thing. So if you look at this tomato, it's looking kind of limpy as well. Well, what happened is it was over here tucked in this corner. So I pulled it up and just moved it over to kind of balance this side of the bed out, so you had three instead of them being in one pile over here. Trying to balance out this box a little bit. But you've got these volunteer squash in the corner, and then my cucumbers are lined up here, and I got them pointing up in this direction. And then my San Marzanos on the other side, I had to put some sticks on them because they were starting to fall over. So I got them posted up and looking good. And I kind of figured I was going to end up doing that this year in this bed, running the poles, because that trellis is going to be covered with cucumbers. So I really didn't want to tie it to the trellis. So we're going to have to see, in the future how that goes. I don't really like using the tomato baskets. I found that the pole works really well as long as you keep management of it and keep it tied up on the pole. It seems to work just as even better than the basket. Because once they exceed the top of that basket, no good. All right, I'm going to pluck these flowers off of here. Don't want you making any tomatoes just yet. And why am I doing that? All right, I think I talked about this last week. When my tomatoes are really small, and I call that small, I don't want them putting their energy into making fruit. I want them to put their energy into making some growth, because the more growth you get, the more limbs it makes, and the more tomatoes you're going to get. You don't want to start expending all the energy now on them putting out fruit right now. So we want to pick our fruit later on during the year. So that's why I'm pulling these blooms off, and why I prune as well, try and keep them healthy. All right, we look over here. We moved some tomatoes into their own pots. If you look around, you'll see some more tomatoes just in pots here. Those are from this tomato that we had over here on the side. We had a tomato with 4 tomatoes in the side here, and Beth pulled them out this week, moved 3 of them into their own pots. And I'm gonna let her talk about that a little bit.
So what I did was they were actually 4, as he stated. One stayed in there. The other 3 stronger ones, they got put in pots, and they got put at the front of the house. So when he goes to the front of the house, he'll show you that along the brick wall. But as you can see right now, these are usually on that side growing. So back to the Sesame Street. All of these are marigolds, bee balm, pawpaws, persimmons, and the tomatoes. And they usually are lined up down here. So as I said, go back to my Sesame Street thing. I was in the process of sweeping that because I'm going to paint that this evening. So that's what I was doing. But I turned over here and I realized, hey, my jalapenos are coming up, so I need to put them in a pot. So I was trying to go find me another bucket to get those 3 or 4 seeds out that's going to be like that, because they're probably going to grow as much as they did in that little bitty thing. They finally come up, so now I'm going to plant them. I think I'm going to try to find one that's big like that in there, in the greenhouse. And he can show you in the greenhouse. There's not nothing to be planted. Everything to be planted has been planted, and we are just now using it for storage and waiting to get things harvested. We were lucky and blessed enough that when we bought chickens and turkeys at the auction in the last year, and ducks, that we got these, some of them were radishes, some of them house cactuses. So this is be the stuff that we actually pull the fruits and the vegetables out of the garden with, and we'll show you all that when it gets in time. But really, truly, it has become just a storage shed.
Yeah, looking kind of raggedy.
A paint shed. I need to get in here and clean. I've been trying to get in here and clean once a month. But when we work in here, we store things in here, and you have 4 grandboys saying, "Grammy, can I have a piece of wood? Can I have a piece of wood?" Yeah, go in the greenhouse and get it. "Can I have a shovel?" Go in the greenhouse and get it. So, you know, with all that things, it just gets a little strode. But anyway, if you'll look behind Ken right here, this was all nice and green and flowing over last week. And I harvest our first set of parsley this week. It's dried, and when I get the finished product complete, because I added the parsley to the oregano that I did, and I went ahead and did the first harvest of the marigolds that had blooms on them. So they got dried, and some roses. But he showed you last week, that I harvested all the oregano. So all of that went in, and we had garlic, and we had the tops to the onions. I went out here and harvested these, and I harvested those. But you see how they've grown back in 2 weeks. I mean, that is phenomenal. So that fish fertilizer does work. If you want to pan over there and show them what kind of fish fertilizer.
Yep. So we're using this in the garden. This is our primary fertilizer. Our going, all year round.
You cannot burn
And
the plants with that.
I mean, it says right there, won't burn. So it works awesome. And I'm gonna tell you, I can't even tell you how much I'm impressed with this fish fertilizer. Now, it stinks to high heaven, I can tell you that right now. But so if you don't like the smell of fish, don't use the fish fertilizer, because that's what it smells just like you had old dead fish running around. But it works. I think it works as good as when I put the fish in the garden over in the ground garden over there.
Yeah.
So it basically does the same thing. It adds that fertilizer in there.
Have you showed them this bed yet?
I have. All right, and I'm gonna get back to this bed in just a minute, because we have something that we need to show you.
I'd like to go ahead and
Oh, okay. Well, Beth wants to go ahead and do it. So I've been telling you we were going to do this, and I wanted everybody to put the comments in our videos about how big this beet was going to be.
their guess in the comments.
And we're going to pull this guy up and put it on the scale. Let me get her a shovel.
No, I'm gonna pull it up. I believe there's 2.
Oh, there might be 2.
As you look down, I believe if you pan down here and show them, I believe there's 2 hooked to 1. See how it goes in? It's almost like a Siamese twin.
Yep.
So we're gonna pull it. I'm gonna pull the left and the right, and we're gonna try to come up with
Look at them. Look at that beet. That is insane.
it. And all it did was just grow by itself over the winter.
Yep.
I planted the seeds.
Looks like
in
a heart.
November. It does. The beat of my heart. Yeah, it sure does. It does.
It looks just like a heart. That's wild. The beat of my heart. That's awesome.
All right, so we're going to take, I have the scale over here on top of one of the grow out bins. So Ken's going to, and he can let you look at it as we're walking. And we'll go weigh it. I don't think it's that heavy. If I have to guess, it's going to weigh maybe 1.5 pounds based off of what I feel. I could be surprised. But we're going to zero out the scale.
All right, let me get this thing turned on here.
It's zeroed out.
All right, go ahead and set her on there. Let's see what it says.
So I'm going to put the...
We're covering it up.
I did
Wow,
not...
1.86 pounds, almost 2 pounds. So it's just it's 1.8. Well, it's 1.5 pounds. This is exactly what you said. So 1 pound 8 ounces.
And girls, you can tell your husbands this. After you've carried a baby on your hip many, many years, many different times, you about can tell what the weight of something is. I'm telling you, and this was easy peasy squeezy, so that's why I said 1.5 pounds.
So this is gonna be interesting and good. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna make a salad here. we might make a salad tonight. And we're having Brunswick stew, so we may have a salad with our Brunswick stew. And I think we might use some of these beet greens in there as well.
Yep, we're going to try it, and I don't think we're going to harvest this because it did grow together as a twin. But look at that, it sure does have some good roots on it. Look at that. I'm thinking about.
I'm gonna eat it because I want to see how sweet it is. I'm curious to because they're supposed to get sweeter as they grow throughout the winter, and I'm curious to see the sweetness in these. I'm surprised that we haven't had a foraging animal come over and snack them out of the ground, because that's generally what happens with beets. As soon as they turn sweet, you'll have a deer or something coming.
We're going to take some pictures and have this on our Heavenly Harvest Homestead page, on our Instagram and our Facebook page. So if you want to see a still caption of what it looked like, I'll slowly turn.
That is awesome.
And I swear it totally reminds me of a twin. If y'all have ever seen those twins, little veggie-tail twins and everything, where he's waking up out of the soil and he don't want to be woke up. That's what it looks like to me.
I know it. That is awesome.
His eyes, and this one's prowling. But yeah, it's like they hung on for dear life.
That is awesome.
They did not want to be.
All right. Well, so now everybody knows what it weighed. All right, so let me continue on with the garden walk. I'm going to take you around front and show you what we got going on over there.
And I'm going to say goodbye for the moment, because I'm going to go put this sweet thing in the house where it can stay out of the. I don't want it to wilt before we get a chance to do this, even though you can. Most of the time when you pick these, you can set them in the sun and dry the roots out at the base. I don't want to do this at this time because, as he told you, we want to try these and see what these taste like. So I'm going to bid y'all goodbye and let him show you the front yard.
All right. So let's move on down the road. On the road again. Oh, I want to show you over here, my gardenias finally popped out some flowers. I was getting worried about them because I put them in the ground. They were nice and pretty, and then the leaves started turning yellow, and I'm like, what in the world's going on? But I started putting out some flowers, and I love the smell of gardenias. I mean, it's just, I don't know what, it's one of those smells that takes me back to my childhood, because my grandmother had gardenias, and I just remember the smell was so awesome. Let me take you over here before I go to the front and show you my meat birds. They're going to be, time is ticking on them. We are planning on harvesting these guys this coming up Thursday, so they're looking good. Got 30 of these cats, so they're going to be good, and we're going to start early Thursday morning. My daughter's coming over to give us a hand, and I'm tell you one thing that surprised me about these is how much water they go through. I never in a million years thought they would drink that much water. That's a 5-gallon bucket I filled up this morning. It's almost all the way empty, and I'm gonna have to fill it up again before this evening. So for some reason they're spending more time drinking instead of eating, which was really odd. So I don't know if anybody else has ever seen that before, but this was the first time this ever happened. And my chickens are looking great, looking awesome, and laying me some great eggs. And I've got Fiona and Honey in here with them. They're in here lounging around in the sun, and they're really enjoying. We put them out here during the daytime, let them frolic around and have a good time, looking at things, and she's just laying on the ground and rubbing herself. Yeah. Say hello to everybody. All right, let's go to the front. Get a good look at the beast here. It's my truck. Got a lot of comments about my orange truck. Some bad, some good, but it's mine, and I love orange. See? Got an orange car too. All right, so over here, start with my apples. My crabapple tree is doing awesome. They're looking really starting to grow. Apples are starting to get big. Really looking forward to seeing these this year. Hopefully we'll get enough water, enough rain, because that's what happened last year when we get enough rain for these guys. My plum tree's looking plum beautiful. I love this red leaves on here. Over here I've got my Granny Smith apple. And we had some pretty heavy winds last night, and it's none the worse for wear. Handled pretty good. Stayed nice and tall. I don't generally tie my trees up. Now, if you notice, I told you about that pole I put in over there on that one. That wasn't because it was tilting. It's because that big tall limb is this main leader, and it was dragging the whole entire tree down to the side from it. So I tried to use this to prop the tree up, but I may actually put a rope on here and try and pull this tree back this direction just to kind of get it to straighten up, because it is getting, because of where the pears are pulling to, it's kind of pulling it onto that side, and I don't want it to grow crooked because the wind generally blows from this direction coming down this way. All right, here's my peach tree. This is a Cresthaven peach, and then I've got a plum tree here. This is that plum peach. It's called an Aerosa plum from Auburn University, and it looks like they grafted a peach and a plum together. I don't know if you can notice these leaves are not the same. So it's kind of neat. So I got a dual tree there. This is my Fuji apple tree. Fuji apple, yep, it's a Fuji apple. We probably won't see anything from them for a couple years, but I love apples. This is my Yellow Delicious tree. Yep, Yellow Delicious. I had to check the tags because I get confused sometimes about which trees where. All right, so let's look up here in the front and see what we got going on. So my hydrangea's starting to come up. I think that one is red, if I remember right, but I don't really remember. Let's see when it blooms. My azaleas have run their course, so now the flowers are all dying back. But look at this rhododendron. I mean, it looks spectacular. I mean, it just really bursts with color. My blueberries are looking awesome, fantastic, yummy. I can't wait till the things turn blue so I can eat them. I know the birds don't even have a chance with me because I love blueberries so much. I'll be out here chasing them off before they can have a chance to come get them. Some more azaleas all the way around, more blueberries. But there's those tomatoes she was talking about. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and they're looking kind of ragged. I probably need to come up here and give us some more water. All right, coming on around this way. Our hibiscus is coming up nice in this pot right here. It's looking nice. These two hydrangeas I planted right here, they're just sticks in the ground right now, so I'm not expecting anything from them this year at all. And I'm waiting for this rhododendron to bloom. It's like being slow to the party. So it should be, if that one's red, this one should be lavender colored. So I'm hoping that by the next time I show you a garden walk video, that thing will be bloomed, because it's being a little bit slow. And then we got our lamb's ears. This is my lamb's ears. I got 2 of these. I got these for a particular reason. They can be used as toilet paper. And with the with the toilet paper all being gone from the stores, I tried to look at some alternate means for this. I know it sounds kind of crude, but you know what? We're homesteaders. We got to do what we got to do to keep things going. And if I can figure out a way to grow my own toilet paper, that's one more step in self-sufficiency that I can get to. All right. So that's the entirety of our garden. It's looking very good, and I am very pleased about the growth. So I just want to thank you for coming with us today. It's always a pleasure when I can take you and show the growth on our garden and show you what we're doing around the homestead. And I hope you're enjoying these garden walk videos. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed already, please subscribe and ring the notification bell so you can see when we put new videos up. And remember always that God is good all the time. And all the time God is good. And I want to give you another thing. Be sure you check out us tomorrow. I'll be preaching at 11 o'clock tomorrow out on our deck I built. So I'll be going live on Facebook. I'll be going live on Facebook at 11, and I'll be recording it and putting it up on YouTube sometime thereafter. So until next time, I want to thank you for coming. I'll see you guys later. Love you.